Have you wondered how diplomacy looked in the 1800s? We did not have a lot of cameras then, so all we can do is imagine. Of course, there is another option. Just look at any state visit to the UK, because their traditions are still stuck there in the 1800s. This week, the UK is hosting French President Emmanuel Macron. The trip is coming after a long time. The last state visit by a French president to the UK was in the year 2008. After that, we had the Brexit fiasco. So this trip is all about a reset, which is why London dusted out its old relics. I'm talking about the royals. Macron was welcomed at Windsor Castle by King Charles. It had everything you would expect, from horse-drawn carriages to royal bands. Take a look at this. Macron then headed to London. He addressed a joint session of the British Parliament and he spoke about a lot of things. He called Brexit a deeply regrettable choice. He called for reducing dependency on the US and he promised to forge a strong UK-France alliance.
First of all, of course, because the sovereign British people choose to leave the European Union in 2016, a decision that we respect, even if we found it deeply regrettable. If we compare our countries with the United States. But we will have as well to de-risk our two countries for the excessive dependencies on both the US and China.
Then it was banquet time. Macron attended two state dinners on Tuesday and Wednesday night. The first one was at Windsor. It was a grand event. The table alone took 6 days to set up. Both King Charles and President Macron made speeches. Then they raised a toast and tucked in. Then yesterday, Macron left Windsor Castle. He met Prime Minister Keir Starmer in London. They held one-on-one talks at 10 Downing Street. Then today, they met again, this time for a formal summit with delegations. Both leaders are expected to sign an agreement by the end of it. It will cover defense, borders and Ukraine. Tonight, we are focusing on one aspect of it, which is nuclear coordination. The European continent only has two nuclear powers, France and Britain. Both countries have big plans for their arsenal. They want to create a coordinated nuclear deterrent. Now, what does that mean? Say there is an extreme threat to Europe, maybe an invasion or a nuclear hit. Then France and the UK will join hands. They will make their nuclear weapons work in tandem. Basically, there will be a joint nuclear response. Of course, this raises many questions. Like, what threat would trigger such a response? Would a conventional attack suffice? Does it have to be a nuclear attack? Now, we don't have clarity on any of that yet, but here's what we do know. The nuclear arsenals will remain independent, meaning the French nukes will remain under the French president's control and the British nukes will remain under the British Prime Minister's control. They're coordinating, not combining. Still, this is a big move. It could be the first step towards a European nuclear umbrella. Right now, most of Europe is defended by the US. They have placed nukes in multiple European nations, like in Belgium, Germany and Italy. But with Donald Trump, there is uncertainty. Would he use these nukes to defend Europe, or would he stand on the sidelines to avoid this question? Some European leaders want a European umbrella. French President Macron proposed it. German Chancellor Merz is open to it, and clearly so is British Prime Minister Keir Starmer. This announcement could be a first step towards that, a European nuclear umbrella. But will it be enough? Let's look at the numbers first. The US has more than 5,000 nuclear warheads. Out of these, around 100 are in Europe. In comparison, France has 290 warheads and Britain has 225. So in terms of numbers, this is not an issue. In fact, it rarely is with nukes. Even one nuke is enough for deterrence. Having said that, two questions do remain. One, can Europe match America's conventional military power? That's where the US draws its dominance from. Russia has more nukes than the US, but the US is a much stronger conventional military. So that is one point to consider. Number two, will this deterrence work in practice? You see, nuclear umbrellas always sound good in theory. You nuke my ally, I will nuke you back. That's the idea. But will countries walk the talk? Will Macron risk a Paris for Berlin? Will Starmer risk London for Brussels? That's another question for Europeans to ponder. Either way, one thing is quite clear. Europe is looking at a future beyond American protection. It may not come tomorrow, but they're planning for it.
Firstpost now available in 9 languages on YouTube. English,
Stands at $36 trillion.
French,
Le FMI, comme
German,
Geschäftsführenden Direktor,
Hindi,
$30 trillion kakarjo.
Indonesian,
Pemerintah tanpa pemeriksaan.
Italian,
Kali radikali.
Japanese,
4 兆ドル以上も
Portuguese,
por causa do próprio balanço patrimonial.
Spanish.
Beautiful bill.
Go to Settings, click on Audio Track and select the language of your choice. Be the first to know what's happening around you in your first language. Firstpost.